A very good afternoon, and let me begin. First, my proud privilege to be here at Chandannagore College, and I'm extremely grateful for the robust introduction given, and also the kind of warmth that was displayed by Dr. Sharkar, who I am now fondly calling Devashish Da, and the esteemed faculties of Chandernagore College, my dear students, and all the staff members of Chandernagore College, all the participants who've gathered here today. This is an extremely enlightening and happy moment for IGNOU, because we are actually doing something a little different from what IGNOU has been doing in Bengal so far, with Chandannagore College coming. And as you know, Chandannagore is not really our learner support center, but we still feel that this kind of interaction with colleges around Bengal and from West Bengal is extremely important as an intervention, as we make intervention as IGNOU. But besides that, just to lay the context of this whole discussion, which is going to be firstly, my first part is going to have a general discussion on the education scenario, current education scenario. The second part is going to be on what are the scopes and opportunities and what are the areas of education that we need to focus. And the third part is going to be the focus on Indira Gandhi National Open University, as I share the transformative journey of a university of this scale and probably reacquaint the university it's like the old wine but in a new bottle, but without missing out the basic tenets which as an education community we all need to know. So yes, what is the educational scenario right now? As you are all aware, education as an institution worked very differently in the other historical ages. For example, if we take India in that context, education has always been an instrument in our hand to preserve the status quo of a society. What do I mean by that? It was always to preserve the values which have already been given to us. And if you see the kind of ancient wisdom that has been passed to us as part of the Indian subcontinent, whether we talk of the Hindu ancient texts or we talk of Islam, or it has always been to see how far we can preserve the status quo. So we don't want that the hierarchy of the caste society should be moving, or we did not want that which caste does which job, or what are the rights and duties of the individuals who belong to a particular caste. So education came as a means, an instrument to establish the status quo. The difference now is something what you need to notice. The difference is that education today will have to respond to the changing scenario. As Dr. Sharkar has already put it very eloquently before us, we are in the middle of a changing paradigm. The changing paradigm is because of knowledge system that was very scientifically grounded. We have a scientifically investigative, a Western science, a robust Western science and investigation methods which prove to us there are techniques and algorithms and determining factors which prove that we have just a round Earth. The question of whether the Earth was round or a single linear thing, that was also a question at one point of time. But today we know for sure, because we know that it is just one blue planet we have, and we don't have any extra resources out of that. So whatever endeavors, whatever projects that are going to be undertaken, that will all have to take place within that one blue planet that is at our disposal. So that whole linearity or the indefiniteness of human endeavor, that you can go on creating your projects, like, in certain ways we can also fall back on Western capitalism, or we can also fall back on the Protestantism, kind of, wanting to increase the profit and how a profiteer makes. So these kind of endeavors, the illusion has been broken that we cannot run the infiniteness of human projects within the confines of a limited planet. The biophysical limitations are a proven fact, and it's not just an ideological or a philosophical paradigm. It is a known fact backed by scientific investigation. So we have just this much. So the illusion has been broken, and we now know that we have biophysical limitations to what the planet has, the resources that the planet can actually give us. The third point is that we are also at the niche of a society where the same scientific instruments are giving us a very, very highly technologically active and technologically matured society, where infotech and biotech are merging. And this is a concept which we must understand here. When we have biotechnology, we have instruments which gives us a complete picture of what the human mind, what the human physiology, and what the human systems look like. We know about that. But what we also know at this point of time is that there are algorithms which can compute these feelings. This entire mental system that we physiologically know, that we know the heart is here, but we have algorithms to prove that when you speak like this, there are certain things happening in your entire your neurological system, and which can be computed externally as an AI contribution right now. So we are in a kind of, scientific investigations always has a kind of an optimism, which feels like, oh my, it is wonderful. There are instances now where the AI can actually compute the level of, human emotions, what kind of emotions. You can probably compute exactly what my intentions are behind coming to this college. And it is probably okay to also do that, because you know me through that computational system much better than I know myself, which is a dangerous concept, because what it really means to be a human is something that we would always value within ourselves. I know my emotions, I know my choices, and my choices are directed by very, very definite understanding of my society, and so I have chosen this. But today here, what we can also know is that through that computational system, it is possible for us to hack the human system, which is the human mind. We have to be aware of it even when we discuss this entire, this discussion and this forum where we are going to discuss about openness and borderlessness of education and to see the universe. We have to keep in mind that what is the context of society we are living in. The context of society that we are living in puts the human mind also as a hackable entity. Now, having said that, now if that is hackable, what happens to the concept or the philosophy or the ingredients or the characteristics that make the humanity or human being? This was not a concern that our saints needed to ever, embroil themselves. Because when Khudiram Ghosh would take Vivekananda, Gita on his hand and go and walk to the gallows for Phashir Jonne, nobody doubted his intentions. They all knew that where this was coming from. But today, when you have a political system which can actually take and rule these, take over these kind of these implementable datas and everything, we do have to understand where we need to take education. Is it going to be just education which will determine the value system of human beings? Is it going to be education which is going to be full of skills? We were having a discussion on that at that time. Is it going to be an education which directs human beings to be, to question their education and ask them, I am educated, I am a graduate, I am a master's, I am a PhD. What is the outcome of that education, that 4 years that I have spent? Does that enhance my humanity? Or does it make me an object of the scientific universe that is going on somewhere outside of me? And am I going to be hackable in that sense? And am I going to be an instrument in the hands of something much more powerful? Will I have the agency of questioning? Will my choices be my own? And will I be really contributing to humanity, not just being a human? Because humans, as we were trying to. So I'm sorry for giving this huge introduction, because I thought I need to have a kind of, the ecosystem within which I'm going to implant and put IGNOU, which comes much later as a pragmatic university. But before that, also to understand why is it important to concentrate or reflect on making education open and universal. Why should we do that? My topic for today's lecture was making a borderless universe that works for all, opening education with flexibility for relevance, inclusion, innovation. So you'll find a number of jargons and number of concepts put into that, because I didn't want to miss out on anything. These are all important, so I put them all together for all of you to think about it. Each of them is a concept that we need to reflect here within this. Having given the background that I just gave about our, the context that I was talking about, it is extremely important that we try to make education borderless, an absolutely limitless universe of education which goes beyond every border of space and time, discipline, age. It has to be an education system which will, again going back to Tagore, where the mind is without fear, and where the world has not been broken down into narrow domestic walls. That's it, because education can no longer be limited. Think about the pandemic. The pandemic accelerated this view once again, because we suddenly realized the entire citadel of our educational infrastructure, which was physical, colleges, universities, everything, suddenly they've all become meaningless. We did not even have a way of interacting. The teachers will not meet the students. Teachers will not meet the, any other institutions which will support education. So what happens in such a case? And that is the time when the relevance of open and distance learning became a very big concept. Open and distance learning, which became important because it was realized that in order to be specially relevant, education, or in order to be specially effective, education had to reach every doorstep. Somehow it has to, instead of the people coming and reaching the educational system, we have to devise a system by which the educational system reaches out to people, because we have to get the entire plethora of humanity into education. we realize that we have to also make education relevant. It has to be relevant. It has to be outcome based. It has to be inclusive, which means again to take it irrespective of different borders and different separations and different human made borders. It has to reach out to every corner. And the fourth very important important aspect is that because of the changing scenario, we also need to make education innovative and creative. The same kind of educational scenario which was there earlier, reading geography in a particular way, reading history in a particular way without knowing how that history was, frankly speaking, I started loving history only when I started studying it on my own and reading it as a book. Why did not we have history teachers or history books which made us passionate about history? I see Debashish Dr. Shorkar here trying to make a living history. And this is what the role of, and he's not even a historian, I'm sorry, you are an economist.
Not yes. Economist, a post-student of economics.
Okay, so you can see, yet he has, and all of you as students of, as people from Chandannagore College, you are probably living through a living history almost every day, and suddenly you find what this museum really means to this college today. How much of value addition this has done to this college today. And that's exactly how, but I'm sorry to say, the educational system really did not prepare us to do something like that. And that's why we need to have an educational structure which is going to be banking on innovative thinking. If you are a scientist, yes, I agree with what Debashish said, that it is grounded on science, but innovation can be grounded in philosophy also. It can be grounded on history also. It can be grounded on social science also. When you address problems of gerontology, when you address problems of disability through innovation, then you are addressing something else. So science come together. The whole understanding of the world as a borderless single entity has been ingrained in in the Indian civilizational history from days of Vedanta. We are talking about the oneness of existence, and we are talking about, continuity of existence much before it was even acknowledged. The same understanding and concept has to be brought into the educational scenario where we create a boundless system of education. Each and every part and section and knowledge gets within this boundless form, and there is no barrier of any kind. Whether we talk of time or whether we talk of space, every barrier of space and time can be overtaken by this form of open and distance openness in education. We have seen pragmatically, we understanding, if I bring it from the philosophical understanding and we come pragmatically speaking, you've seen the NEP 2020. We could not keep education out of it, and it came into public policy as we realized that we have to bring NEP 2020 speaks and emphasizes openness and open and distance learning and online learning in a phenomenal way right now. And therein lies the coming of all universities right now, because all the universities and educational institutions realize the importance of open and distance learning. And that, whether they wanted to do it out of choice, but right now you have a public policy and you have an education policy which is almost forcing every educational institution to explore these ideas. Openness of education, open out learner-teacher relationship. Open out an education system which focuses on the learner and not on anything else. So the learner's convenience, the learner's interest, the learner's age, the learner's ideas are what is important and what is ultimately going to be given more importance than anything else. And as I was going earlier, innovation is an important part of our new education policy, and not just policy. It is true, we have to do that. If you have to deal with the changes, our students, our youth will have to talk of innovation in different. We have to take innovation to a different level, and you do innovation, but sometimes you may not be in the official educational institution, but you still have to do it as part of your understanding, as part of the way that you think. The same kind of innovation thoughts or innovation in science encouraged and motivated people like Professor Chandra Rai. How did he come up with, when he was doing chemistry, how many of our chemists afterwards are actually thinking the way Professor Chandra Rai did? He's not. He started. There was, in fact, I'm very happy that we are doing holistic thinking now, because there was a phase when any kind of innovation would be very, very recklessly clubbed into business. To amra kori na business keo choto bhabe kore. But innovation, Professor Chandra Rai's contribution to the health of Bengal cannot be, most Bengalis could not have afforded Western, medicines had those, had Bengal chemicals and immunity did not come up. What I'm trying to say is, they believed they were actually thinking of innovation at that time. They were thinking of innovation from a space of awareness of service. They thought, how can we help people? And the same thing will have to be brought back again. And the teachers and eminent, faculty members, all of you who are here, every lecture and every talk that you give will have to motivate a student not just to do rote learning, but to question themselves, Jay, what you are coming out with a degree, how are you going to contribute? What is the new thing that you are bringing into your education now? These are some of the, these are importance of open and distance learning. This is going to happen in conventional learning also, but open and distance learning does something very interesting. It gives you the power over your time. And that's why innovation becomes very important. Because when you are flexible with your degrees and you don't need to be sitting 9 to 5 with, in your college and doing your thing, what you do is you can utilize that time into something which is more thoughtful, more innovative, and then you start questioning the universe around us. That's something you can do. So that's another section of open and distance. Now I have spoken in general for the importance of open and distance learning. Do I have some more time? 10 more? 10 more minutes, and do I have? Yeah. 10 more minutes? Okay, so I do have to listen to him when he tells me that if you want me to stop, I will. Thank you so much. Yes, I will now come back to just talking something about IGNOU. I have already established the importance of open and distance learning. I have established NEP 2020 and why they are focusing on just skip off a little bit from there. I think I have already spoken, and that's the problem of not having my laptop with me. So I didn't have a power. I'm disempowered here. So you can go for that. Come to IGNOU. I was talking of open and distance learning basically. Yes, come to this. I'll start on that. So, and I've already told you how NEP 2020, most of the policies of NEP 2020 actually supports open and distance learning, because it gives you dual courses, dual degree programs. It gives you an opportunity of doing online programs along with your regular conventional programs. So from NEP 2020, it is a recognized fact that you cannot move without getting into open distance learning. So herein comes, I'm going to now talk about a university, the University of Indira Gandhi National Open University. The primary mandate of Indira Gandhi National Open University was to democratize education to every sections of people, to take education, as I said, to the doorstep of each and every citizen of this country. Now, as you know, the literacy rate of of India is almost is a very. I was discussing the literacy rate, and I will not go into those niche right now. But the literacy rate of India is almost more than 77% now. And when India became independent, if you see the kind of rise that has taken place in the number of institutions, higher education institutions, medical institutions, everything, that 79% was not just a contribution of all that. The contribution majorly came through this flexible learning portal. The flexible learning, which in a very simplistic way, all those of us who were in conventional learning earlier would always think, oh, if someone doesn't get anywhere, go get into IGNOU. But that was not as simple as that. The mandate was much farther, much further. The mandate basically had the primary objective of inclusive education to every sections of people in terms of the scheduled castes, scheduled tribes. It was, it was taken to the armed forces, to the jail inmates, specially designed, customized education for different sections of population. So today, all over India, we have 70 regional centers. The different centers, the different states have, each state has one regional center, plus there are 12 RRC, which are basically regional centers dedicated to the army and the air force and all that. So it is only for their customized education. There are 3.5 million learners we are talking about. The last convocation saw about 35 lakhs. And of course, we are NAC accredited A++ in open and distance learning, and also in NIRF, it is the first ranking university. We run the entire process of open and distance learning through collaborations. And this is part of our collaborations when we come to different colleges, become our learner support center, and we deliver the programs through their academic to their faculties, who then have to apply to IGNOU and become IGNOU approved counselors. So the infrastructures are also given to IGNOU in terms of a collaborative understanding. There is a MOU signed with the universities and the colleges. Accordingly, we have 2,000 learner support centers all over the country. We also have, it is an international university, I must also make that clear to you. We have different regional centers in outside India too. You can visit our website for further details about it. I've already shared those details with you, so I have not repeated these in the different web links. And we have around 35,000 faculty who are all trained faculties of colleges and universities, who also are our empaneled counselors. Just go to the next thing. So just go to the next thing. How many? Maybe yes. Yeah. So we have, these are some of the numbers that we have already discussed with you. Go to the next slide, please. So what are the benefits of choosing IGNOU? Flexible learning, affordable fees, valid degrees which you never have to, IGNOU degrees will never be questioned as long as the India government, may the nation live forever. So as long as India government exists, the degrees are valid. It has a pan-India network. So if you're taking an admission here, it is also possible to be serviced by our regional centers in different other states. It is an extremely digitally supported institution, and very recently we have also launched our program where IGNOU also becomes a digital university, and we have in Delhi, the IGNOU headquarter has launched an AI summit, which was to see the AI future ready open and distance learning for India as a whole, and which was being organized by IGNOU. So we'll pass on, and I'll leave the A further thing, I'll just skip on these. So this is the summit that we have done. We are a digital university, fully fledged digital university, and yes, you can just go a little further to the next of it. Last 5 years, maybe go to the Kolkata slide. We have about 63,270 learners only within Kolkata, and we cover 16 districts of West Bengal. We have 35 learner support centers, and we are hoping that maybe we will work together with Chandannagore also at some point of time. There are 57,537 women learners in IGNOU, 334 ODL programs, which includes a number of professional and skill-based programs, and 50 OL programs, which are online programs. Just slide a little bit, go to the next slide. Yes, and primary purpose is primary educational ecosystem is to democratize education. You can see that with a global vision. Thank you so much, and I'm very sorry, but you can, IGNOU is a university of such scale that's very difficult to get it all together. But I'd like to request all of you to please visit the website and see what are the programs that could help you. There are a number of programs to elevate and augment your own conventional degrees. So when you come out as a degree holder, you also have another degree which emphasizes your the quality and the outcome of the program that you've done. Thank you very much, and all the best. God bless you all.